Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and celebrity interviews live from the Grotto with Greg Hanna. Greg, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing great, Neil. How are you?
Fantastic. This guy has the most amazing stories in the world. I've interviewed him like 4 times. He's the former WCW heavyweight champion and WWE superstar, Marc Mero. Marc, thanks for stopping by, man. And I've been so impressed of your mission with kids and inspiring people in so many ways. And it's from how you hit rock bottom in life that really taught you what was important, right, Marc?
Neil, it's great to see you, and Greg, it's great to meet you. They say when you find your passion, you never have to work. So I guess I've been unemployed for about 16 years now. I actually love what I do. There's no greater joy than helping another person. But it was I've been through so much in my own life, hardships, loss of loved ones, divorce, brokenness, heartache, and man, the worst part about it is seeing other people that are going through it, but helping them go through it as I went through things in life where you can be maybe a light in their darkness.
Well, it's interesting. How long ago, roughly, did you start going down the path of, helping others?
Well, I retired from the WWE. And my last match was 2006, last time I wrestled. And it was in 2003, I went through some really hard times, really hit rock bottom. And then I found out that rock bottom actually had a basement. So I've been through some really difficult times, but it was making this amazing comeback in life through my faith and through, believe it or not, helping other people, man. There's no greater joy than helping others. So I started in 2000, let's see, in 2007, I got a call from Melbourne High School. They just wanted me to come and speak to their football team. They heard some of the stories on television about me, and I wasn't speaking in schools at that time, although I did many years ago when I was in wrestling, but I haven't done it for years. And they asked me to come speak to their football team and just about not doing drugs and so on. Anyway, I spoke to, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 players. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't a lot of people. And next thing I know, I start getting these emails and how these kids say, man, you really changed my life. You really gave me hope. You really inspired me. And I was like, wow, that is really cool. Unbeknownst to me, that school told another school about me, and they wanted me to come and speak to their whole high school. And it just snowballed from there, man. And then my videos went viral, and it's just been an amazing journey. One that I never anticipated, but one that I've been so blessed, man. I tell you, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. I mean, when people say, "Wow, man, you're a WWE wrestler," there's no comparison to getting a letter or a student telling you that you changed or even saved their life.
And it's all about branding too, Marc. You were able to use wrestling's brand to help others, which is the story. You make your shows when you go out to the schools and make them like big time productions. So where did you kind of come up with those brainstorming ideas of saying, how can I make it different than other people that talk about bullying in schools and all that?
Yeah. When I speak to people that want to be like an inspirational speaker or presenter, I always tell them, like, they come up there with these notes and they try to memorize notes, or they're looking at their notes a lot. And I said, I think my success really came from, and don't get me wrong, I don't got nothing about notes. I mean, it's always good to have bullet points and things, but I really just speak from my heart of personal experiences. More than a presenter, I feel like I'm a storyteller, and I share stories of my life, my personal stories. And when kids see that I'm not afraid to talk about depression or anxiety or suicide or things that I've experienced or went through in my own life, they feel open to talk about it and get help, or reach out to me and say, man, how did you get out of this, or how did you get through it? And it becomes really in-depth conversation that I'm able to help other people. But getting back to the branding part about it is that, when in WWE is bigger than life, so I wanted to make my presentations kind of multimedia. Like when I'm talking, they're showing pictures of me growing up, or my house or apartment I grew up in behind me. And then they zoom in on the room that I point out as my bedroom, where I started dreaming as a little kid of becoming something in life. And then of course, shows when I finally made it in wrestling, and the big house, the cars, the boats, and all the material things that you think are going to make you happy. And then come to realize that at the end of the day, at some point you're all alone. And that's where the comeback starts, through my gosh, the drug addiction, the brokenness, the loneliness, the heartache, and then making this amazing comeback in life and being able to help so many along the journey.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Marc, tell us one of your stories that's really close to you.
Well, I mean, I guess one that really touched my heart, especially with Father's Day just passing, was I spoke at a school not too long ago, and there was this young man that the principal said, "Hey, can you go over and talk to him?" He goes, "Let me give you a little backstory. This kid is one of the best football players I've ever seen. He's going to a Division I full scholarship." And he didn't really tell me much other, but I could see the kid was really down. Like after my presentation, looked like he was in tears. So he was just sitting by himself, and I went over and I go, "Hey man, how you doing?" And he just said, "Good." And we exchanged pleasantries, your name and stuff. And I said, I just heard that you got a scholarship to a Division I school for football, man. That is incredible. Your parents must be so proud of you. He goes, "They never saw me play." I go, "They never saw you play?" He goes, "No, they never came to a game." And I thought to myself, man, my dad worked the corner of my boxing matches. He'd been to every hockey game, football game, boxing match, everything I'd been through. My dad was there at everything. My mom too. My mom, when growing up, my mom would be at all my games too. And I thought, how cool was it when you score a goal or you sack the quarterback or you win a boxing match, you look over and there's your mom or your dad in the audience, you know? And just my heart really went out to this kid, and I just encouraged him. And I don't know. I think I really connected with the kid because I really felt what he was feeling, because I knew what it was like to have a father, but I thought, what would it be like not to have a dad in my life? You know, a role model, someone you could look up to, someone you could talk to, someone that can give you advice, a mentor. And that was one that really, I always remember this kid. But I gotten so many letters from students that were suicidal, that say I saved their life by the presentation, and especially my mother's video that I put out there that talk about our relationship with our mothers is went viral and has helped so many people.
Wow. And what do you think, how rock bottom felt for you? When did it start and you started really saying to myself, I really hit rock bottom? Because the people need to know that. Because sometimes in your life, you don't ever think it's going to happen to you, but it happens to people. It happens to almost everyone at some point, not even for like one day, but to a level of a loss of something. How did you finally learn that you could deal with that, even though at first you couldn't?
Well, there was a time in my life where I had millions of dollars in the bank, and I thought, man, I could live the rest of my life and just enjoy myself. And then through divorce and bad financial decisions and drug addiction, all of a sudden I realized I got nothing. And I became a personal trainer at Gold's Gym. And this is kind of a cool story I'll share with you guys real quick. Was that, people would walk into Gold's Gym and they go, "Marc, Mero." They go, "What are you doing here?" They go, "I work here." And they go, "You work at Gold's Gym?" And it was almost like a very humbling experience. But I was a personal trainer, so my clients, we had this wall of fame at the gym, and my clients were like, always on the wall of fame, and I was always getting this connection with students or with employee or people that I'm training. And it really became a connection that I had with people, that I was able to help a lot of people. And in turn, it was helping myself. But I went through a suicidal, it was Christmas Day, where I remember, I had no place to go. I had no family. My mother, my father, both passed on. My little brother and sister, they both died at 21. I just went through the divorce with my ex. And it was Christmas Day. It's like a day we celebrate the birth of our Savior, music and presents and the Christmas tree and family. And I had no place to go. And I drove down to Cocoa Beach, Florida. I sat under a pier on Christmas Day. I remember just watching the waves roll in and roll out and thinking, this is what rock bottom feels like. It was having nobody. It was having nobody to talk to, nobody to call. My younger brother was going through his hard time. My other sister tried to end her life through an overdose.
Oh man.
We were just broken. And I remember driving home thinking, I just want to end this, man. I just want it to be over. I mean, how do you live like this? And that's why, gosh, what a gift that I was given to understand what people feel like when they hit rock bottom. And when I say rock bottom had a basement, it means that I wanted to end my life. You know, I just felt that my best years, I was broken too. My body was messed up from wrestling too, all the 14 surgeries, you know, so much. And I was overweight at this time. I looked terrible. I didn't ever think anybody would ever want me in their life, you know. I remember driving home and retrieving my handgun, and I just walked into, I had this big walk-in shower. My house was for sale, and I was just a horrible place in my life. And I just leaned against the wall, and I remember putting the gun to my head, and I just felt like, this is it, man. All of a sudden, my heart starts pounding out of my chest. I could just feel, I could hear it almost, you know, and all of a sudden I seen flashes like this, visions of my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, people that passed on before me, and many of my friends that died before me died so young. And I'm seeing all this vision, this thoughts in my head. It's like a movie's going in my head. And then I just remember that I just wanted to end it. I wanted to be with these people. I thought I could be with them. Then all of a sudden, this vision of hell comes into my head. I mean, guys, it was just so clear, you know. And I'm not here to preach to nobody. I'm just telling you my story. And it was like this thought of a place I don't want to go to. I just felt like I didn't live a good life. I was not doing the right thing. I wasn't living at the time for Christ. And I remember just falling to my knees and asking God to forgive me and to please help me start over. And that's when I got a job at Gold's Gym. But it was the beginning of starting over. And then all of a sudden, good things started happening. It's almost like God assigns people in your life, and they just show up when you need them the most. And through these relationships and friendships and new love and new happiness and new joy, it was like I found Marc Mero's calling in life. I mean, I believe God's got a purpose for all of us. I don't care who you are out there, no matter what you're going through. And you heard part of my story. I mean, there's obviously much worse than this short time I could really share, but it was through so much pain and heartache that I went through. And I've been to so many funerals and seen so much death in my life that I wanted to live. And I tell you, when death comes to find me, they're going to find me living, man, because I really want to make a difference. I don't want, when I pass on someday, I don't want people to say, oh yeah, man, I love watching him wrestle or something to do with sports. I hope they remember me for making a difference in other people's life. That's the greatest gift we could leave anybody, is the difference we make in someone else's life, paying it forward.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. So you mentioned that you did high school talks and school talks and so on. Do you do like businesses? Do you go to companies and help motivate people? Like,
I do.
in fact,
I just spoke at the winter conference for all the Florida sheriffs. Ron DeSantis was there. He was one of the speakers, and I was the keynote speaker for that. And it was amazing. So I'm doing some corporate events, which is nice because it really helps funding the school events. You know, a lot of schools, they don't have the funds or the means to bring me in or fly me across the country. So this has really helped out doing corporate events. And I enjoy that because I talk about not becoming complacent in life.
Yeah.
So many times as we get older, man, we seem to settle for the status quo, and we say things like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I could have done that. Or we say things like, those were the days. Where, man, I'm here to tell you, these are the days. These are the days we learn from past mistakes. We grow in grace and knowledge, and we can accomplish anything we set our minds to. I mean, gosh, you could start a business. You could self-publish a book. And so many people listening to us right now have an amazing story. They could self-publish their own book just from online companies that do it, you know, and sell copies as they're ordered. You know, it's such a great process if that's what you wanted to do, you know.
It gives everyone hope that they have a story, Marc. And Marc, how old are you? Because that's the surprise, because you look younger every time I talk. It looks like you're reverse aging every time, but how old are you, Marc?
Brother, I turn in 3 weeks, I turn 63 years old.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
look,
but you know what? It's funny because I mean, I feel like a kid. My body's completely healed. I really feel good in life. I stay in good shape. I mean, I train a few times a week, and I obviously eat really good. And but I think, being around young people keep you young, man. You got to try and keep up with these kids today, man. And it's funny because every time I go to a school, it's like one kid wants to, it's the kids are so competitive. Let me arm wrestle you. Let me wrestle you. No, buddy, I'm retired. Okay.
That's hilarious. So speaking, you probably do some workshops, maybe do some coaching. Like what are kind of the evolution that you see over the next, few years for you as you really grow and expand into this?
Oh, that's a great question. It's funny because when I talk about setting goals, like when I was a little kid, I used to write in my little book. I still have it to this day. In fact, I take it to every one of my presentations. It's a book of a little boy's dreams that eventually would come true. It's almost like writing it into existence, And I talk about, like, obviously having a plan. Like, for example, when I wrote my first book, it was 2008. I decided to write a book. I wanted to share some of my story. So what I did was I took a Post-it note, and all I did was write book 2010 and then stuck it on my computer. Now, every single day I get on my computer, what do I see? This little Post-it note that said book 2010. In other words, that time I gave myself 2 years to write a book. Okay, that was my goal. Some people can do it sooner or faster or whatever, but I set a goal. In 2 years, I want to have a book. Now, every day I get in front of this computer, I see that book 2010 Post-it note. Well, the first year goes by. I didn't write anything, okay? But I'm still seeing this. I'm getting, oh my gosh, I got 1 year left now, So that's when I started writing. And it just started coming together. It's like, you got to get this momentum going. And next thing I know, December of that year, my book was published right before 2010 came. And so that goal was accomplished. But if it wasn't for that Post-it note that reminded me of that dream, that goal every day, I don't think I would have had my book finished, or maybe a year or two later. Who knows? I don't even know when, if I would have ever done it. But those are great reminders, are little things that you could write down and put somewhere where you have to see it, because it keeps you accountable. And it brings to memory, because many times years go by, they go, oh, I always wanted to do this or that. But when it's in front of you, it's a constant reminder.
setting those goals, setting that, it's so important. Oh my gosh. And do you, like, you being again near Diamond Dallas Page, right? Are you still near? You're not. You're in Florida now, right?
No, I'm 20 minutes from DDP.
You're 20 minutes
Yeah.
from DDP.
Yeah, we
How
get
much of a mentor is he still being? Man, he's killing it. Give us an update on Dallas.
Oh,
What's happening
you know
now?
what? It's funny because when we get together, it's like we bring each other up to another level. We inspire each other. We're each other's biggest supporters too. I mean, we both have different kind of programs. I mean, he does a lot of, the DDPY with the yoga and inspiring people and being a life coach and so on. And I'm doing a lot of the younger kids. And so we both have our own lane that we're in, but it's really the same thing. It's about bringing people to be the best version of themselves, not necessarily competing with other people, being the best version of themselves. And he's one of my closest friends. He's a great guy. He's a guy that we talk on the phone, and next thing you know, hours can go by of us just chatting about life. And he's got a lot of good things coming up. And one of the questions that Greg, I think you asked me was, what do I see for the future? Was, I would like to do more corporate events. I'm starting to really enjoy that, because coaching or being around my peers is a lot of fun too. You can have some fun with jokes and have a little bit of sense of humor as where I'm going to schools. You got that short 15 minutes to inspire a student and really connect with them. And it's a challenge that I love, because, man, at the end of my presentations, many times the kids are just, you wouldn't believe how many kids stay after to meet me or, talk to me, which I love doing. That's my favorite part of the presentation. Every school I say to them, hey, if I could stick around and talk with the students, please let me. Sometimes they let me, or sometimes they say, no, they got to go to their next class or something. But schools that have been really, I think, inspired or moved by the presentation, let me stay and speak with kids. And that's where you can really identify kids that are self-harming, suicidal, broken, lost, kids that really need someone to talk to.
Wow, that's really great. A lot of adults could use that same kind of support and help for sure.
I agree. And that linked, and to finish what I was saying was that's something I'm really looking forward to, especially as I get older. I have so much that I've experienced in life. And so when someone says to me, "You're not going to believe what I went through," I'm thinking to myself, "Well, you have no idea." I probably have, and a lot worse. So I enjoy hearing people's stories and find ways that we can connect and help each other.
Excellent. So, being now I want to say a self-help motivational expert now that you're becoming and are to help others as well. Who in your life, influenced you? I know probably your dad and others. Were there any particular, I want to say, mentors, like like a Jim Rohn or a Zig Ziglar, anybody like that you studied or listened to
Well,
help with self-improvement?
it's funny. I went and saw one of Zig Ziglar's last performances before he passed on, and obviously, he's just was an amazing person in life, But I wanted to see him, and at this time of his life, he had dementia. And he had his son and I think it was his wife and someone else on stage that would help keep the stories going, because he would often repeat himself or forget what he was saying. They would remind him, but he was still, he had so much knowledge, So the funny thing he was doing, he told this story, and then and it was a really inspirational story. And then he started telling the same story over, and his son goes, Dad, you just told that story. He goes, I know, but those guys back there didn't hear it. And it was hilarious. The whole place just broke out because he almost kind of made fun of himself that he couldn't remember. But getting back to the people that have inspired me, my boxing coach, Ray Rinaldi, he's 93 now, and he's been in my life since I was 16 years old. And he's been with me through the peaks and the valleys of winning, losing, making it in life, marriage, divorce, everything. And he's been one person that I always said, if I grow up, that's the guy I want to be like. That's the person that has helped so many troubled kids like myself. There's so many Marc Meros out there that this guy has inspired in life, boys and girls, and it's just an incredible journey. Now he's in the last chapters of his life, and we are so close. I just called him on Father's Day, and I'm going to see him July 14th through the 16th. So I'm going to spend some time with him in New York. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, my faith in God is first and foremost, though. I can't say anybody without saying that, because without Christ in my life, I wouldn't be here today. And I owe everything, my comeback in life, everything I've been through, and the way I treat others now is because of my faith in him.
Yeah. Once you have that relationship, Mark, and that you wouldn't want to that you don't want to be treated that way, you make sure you treat people very, very nice and humble, because when it happens to you, it's a rude awakening when you're being treated poorly.
The thing is, not everybody's nice to you. There's some people that say very mean and nasty things, and there was a time in my life where I'd want to just fight back, like right back, or if you're on social media, like write them right back and tell them how you feel. And now I'm so good at just ignoring it, or actually, I got to be honest, many times that people said some really nasty things about me or to me, or made up something about me, I actually pray for them, man. Maybe they're going through a really bad season in their life. I know when I was hurting, it's almost like you want to see other people hurting, So I and it's funny because I've actually had people that have wrote back and apologized to me years later for something they said about me or on social media or a book or something, and apologized to me. And I tell you this, it's one of the greatest things is not letting your temper or your anger overwhelm you, And so I don't know, it's just something that's really been great in my life, that I walk down the hall and you say hello to someone, they look at you like you're crazy. And it's like, God bless you, man.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. That's amazing.
Greg, you have your favorite question now for Mark.
I do. I can't wait to ask this one. I'm excited. Mark, I ask everybody this, and for selfish reasons. First, it's to help me be better in life. But also, more importantly, for those people who are listening to Neil's show and might eventually hear it on mine. So here goes. Mark, what's the most important thing in life you feel you've ever learned?
Well, we all go through storms in life. Every one of us, man. Life is not easy. And, some storms you could just walk through them, some storms you got to run through. And there are some storms that come in life that you got to hold on with everything you got, but don't let go. Don't give up. Don't quit. Just don't quit, man, because after every storm, man, the sun will eventually shine and it could be brighter than you could ever imagine. But if you quit, you'll never know that. So please don't quit. Whether you're going through a season in life, maybe you're a broken marriage that you're trying to save, or give it everything you got. So even when it's said and done, you can look in the mirror and say, I really tried my best. And that's all you can ever ask from somebody. Just try your best.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Great information, Mark. Best place people can find information on you, Mark. Where can they go?
No, man, just type my name and I'm all over, social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm everywhere. So, and of course, my website, if you want me to come to speak to your corporate event, your school, it's thinkpoz.org, and POZ is P-O-Z, thinkpoz.org. And I'd love to come out to your area and inspire your community.
Appreciate it, Mark. Another great time. You're so amazing how you come with your busy schedule to always come on my show. I appreciate it, sir. The first time was 2009. My first year in radio and podcasting, 2009, you came on my show and we stayed in touch. And I think it's been 4 times and we've both grown in different ways. So it was great having you on.
Thanks for having me back, and God bless you, Neil. And Greg, great to meet you, man. I hope I see you guys again sometime.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mark. All right, that was Celebrity Interviews live from the Grotto with Greg Hanna, guys. Take care.